Welcome to Final Approach with Chris Gregory. I am a philomath who is somebody who loves to learn things. One of the things that I've learned is that everyone has a tale to tell and a lesson to teach. From pilots to farriers to musicians to authors and creators, I'm going to explore my interests while introducing you to some amazing people. Pre-flight is complete and we have clearance, so let's kick the tires and start the fires. Dan is an English farrier who was my main contact when coming over to speak to the Farrier Focus event at Stoneleigh in 2023. He is one of the officers of the BFBA and runs a very successful farrier practice in the UK. Dan and I have a lot in common, from farriery to guitar playing. We had a great chat, and you're going to enjoy getting to know Dan as we sat down in a back room at the BFBA Focus. We are cleared for takeoff. So everybody, I'm here with Dan Harman. You've really been like my point of contact to get here. And so you are on the executive committee. What's your job in the BFBA?
I'll be on the executive committee now for, I think it's my second year. And I don't know how I've got roped into it, but primarily, as well as doing the executive stuff regarding Focus, I organise the lecture theatre, hence being point of contact for you. So I did my first year. I shadowed Ben and Phil, and I took it on last year myself and run it again this year, and really pleased with the turnout we've had. It's been fantastic.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't believe the number of farriers. I got to see so many of my old friends. I'm so thankful for you getting me over here.
No, it's been a real honour to have you. It's been fantastic.
So Dan, tell us about yourself. How long you been shoeing? Where are you from?
So I qualified in 95. I'm pretty much based where I was brought up, which is in Buckinghamshire.
Who did you come up under?
So my ATF was Carl Bettison. Do you know Carl?
Oh, yeah, very well.
So I was Carl's second apprentice and last apprentice. I don't know whether that's a reflection on me or not.
Yeah, did you break him?
Yeah. He, at the time, during my apprenticeship, bought into Stoneleigh,
right?
The Farrier supply. So I basically sort of ran the business after, while he was sort of taking a step back to run Stoneleigh. I worked with him, I think, for a year after that. And then I went by myself.
And how far is that from where you live now?
Miles, 5-10 miles. Yeah, so I'm still in the same area.
And did you grow up in farriery? Was your dad a farrier? Or?
No. My dad was a telephone engineer. My mum had horses when she was a kid and then started again when she was sort of older. I was probably about 12 when she first got her horses again. In those days, you're allowed to go out with your farrier and work. Obviously, due to the regulations now, you're not allowed to do that. So back in those days, sort of when I was 13, 14, I was going out at weekends, pulling shoes, clenching up, that sort of stuff.
So that's mid-80s.
That would have been mid-80s, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's sort of how I got into that. At that time as well, it sounds a bit bizarre, I was in a rock band.
Nice. What do you play?
So I played bass guitar.
Very cool.
At that point, the band was sort of doing quite well.
Did you have long hair? And that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I have long hair? Yeah. Unfortunately, now I wish I kept on to it a little bit longer. But yeah, so we got signed to a Canadian record company. So I was in that horrible position where I was sort of doing really well during my apprenticeship, but I had this thing on my shoulder tapping me saying, "Oh, you could be a rock star."
And what was the name of your band?
We were called Driving Sister.
Driving Sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if we could Google that and find it.
Not many people are going to listen to this, are they? Because
no
one really knows about this.
For my two friends that are listening, Google Driving Sister.
Exactly. Well, we might get picked up again, but...
Did you sing?
No.
No, you were just playing.
I sort of did a bit of miming into the microphone so I look cool, but...
So was this a good avenue to pick up chicks?
I can't possibly say, because my wife might listen. So yeah, so I was doing my apprenticeship. I also had my parents tapping me on the shoulder saying, "You must continue your apprenticeship. You can't leave it to be a rock star. It's not going to happen." And luckily I took my parents' advice like most kids should do, and it didn't really come to anything.
Did you travel to Canada and do some gigs?
No, I mean, it turned out that the Canadian record company weren't really worth the paper that it was written on. But we played, I don't know if you heard of the Marquee Club in London.
I have not.
So the Stones, Who, Beatles, it's not there
big
anymore.
Names.
But yeah, it was only a little club. But we played there. It was a Wednesday night and we were a support band, but we can say we played there.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Are you still friends with your old rock buddies?
Yeah.
Did any of them follow the music path?
The drummer is like a session drummer, and he teaches drums. No, the other guys, they still play in bands, but just for fun. I rejoined when I was sort of 30, I suppose. I started another band, or a band with my previous singer, and we were just playing parties and things like that. It was good fun, but then I, again, wanted to do my associate and stuff like that. So I can't do two things at the same time. So
Do you play other guitar as well, or just bass?
a little guitar. Yeah. I mean, I haven't picked up a guitar for a couple of years, but I can string a few chords together.
I play like probably an hour every morning.
Do you?
I oftentimes travel with my guitar. I didn't bring it this week, but I've missed it.
Yeah, I just don't have the time to go and pick it up. It's just, you get home from work and you just get into I ought to.
Yeah. All right. So are you an only child?
No, I've got two older brothers and one younger brother.
And are any of them farriers?
My younger brother's a farrier. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is he here?
No, unfortunately not. But he works around my area as well.
Do you guys ever work together?
We used to a bit. He used to come and help me out, when he had quieter days and I had busier days.
Were you first?
Yeah.
And are you an ATF?
Yeah.
Did you train your brother?
No.
No.
I don't think that would have been a good idea.
Have you had a lot of apprentices?
I think I'm on about 8 or 9 now.
Wow. You have one now?
I've got 2.
2. Okay. So you must have a nice big practice and stay steady.
Yeah, we've not mad. We're still start at 8 o'clock and finish at 5. So we're not like
Nice.
clogging till midnight or anything silly. We're lucky enough. We've got a big contract that they're a charity called the Horse Trust. They're based near us and they basically take in horses, retired military horses and police horses and rescue horses as well. So they've probably got about 140 horses there.
Oh, wow.
Over a couple of farms. So we're in there every Tuesday and every other Wednesday. So we need 3 of us to cope with that.
Yeah. There's a thought process in the farrier industry where if you have a couple of big accounts, that can be cool. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where you're at or whatever. The downside is if you make that customer mad,
yeah,
then it's like you're an employee really. And if you get fired, then all of a sudden life changes, huh?
It's all your eggs in one basket.
Yes, exactly.
That takes up that time. But other than that, we're just shoeing. We shoe a lot of dressage horses, just pleasure horses and a few hunters and stuff like that. So it's a mixed bag. We're not really a horsey. If you came to my house, there's no reference to horses anywhere.
So if you went through your house, you wouldn't know that you were A, a rock star, and B, a horseshoer?
Well, rock star, there's a few pictures of me.
Oh,
with
so
my
we would
hair,
know.
So you might do that. But if you look in my office, I've got a lot of books, your books in my office.
Nice. All of them?
No.
Just the textbook?
Just the textbook. Yeah. As I said, I love your textbook. I thought it was great how, not simple, but the way, I think you called it, was it DRASTA you call it?
Yes. Yeah.
Definitions, clinical signs, diagnosis, treatment.
So the British system is DACCT, which is definition, anatomy, cause, clinical signs, and treatment.
Yeah.
Mine is basically the same, but with an Army background, I wanted an acronym we could pronounce.
Yeah.
So DRASTA is definition, reason, anatomy, symptoms, treatment, and then I added the anticipated outcome because so often when I'm discussing the lameness with a customer or another farrier or vet, kind of knowing what our target is this horse going to be usable again? Is this horse a pasture ornament, or is this horse maybe done for? At least if we kind of have that, if we're on the same page, if the owner thinks he's going to go ride the horse again, and the vet and I both think that we're going to be lucky if the horse is still alive, it's nice to have that down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you will find, I think I've got it on the wall. I need to put it on the wall. It's in my office, my certificate for being a liveryman
Nice.
of the company and stuff. So that's on there. So yeah.
Do you often go down to the...
I try to. Yeah, I haven't been for the last two dinners, but yeah, I want to get on for the Christmas one. That's always a nice one to do.
Where do you live at?
So Buckinghamshire is probably about 40 minutes on the train to central London.
Oh, okay. So not bad.
We're sort of between Oxford and London, basically.
So not too far from Ben, probably.
No, Ben comes into my sort of patch, or I go into Ben's patch, I suppose. I'd say he comes into mine.
So who was there first?
Yeah. Probably me. I think I'm a bit older than Ben.
Yeah, so he's coming into your patch.
Yeah. So yeah, not far. We often meet for dinner halfway.
And so you have children?
2 kids, yeah.
And how old are they?
So my eldest, Lloyd, is 21 and Max is 18, just turned 18.
All right. And both boys?
Yep.
Farriers?
No.
No. How come? How about rock stars?
No.
No.
So not musical, not horsey. It's strange because I always said when they were younger that I'd like them to find something that could earn them more money with less stress and pain on your body, easier ways to earn a living. And they have, well, my eldest has done that. He works in insurance. He's moved away to Sheffield, which is 2.5 hours north of us. But now I'm sort of thinking about, my exit plan as I get older. Our businesses aren't worth anything. We can't sell our business.
No, not really.
It's about us. It's a shame, that I couldn't have passed it down.
Yeah. I often hear farriers say, I don't want my son to do this because, or my daughter to do this because it's so hard on the body. But I know people that sit behind their desk and their bodies, are terrible. Their backs hurt worse than mine.
Yeah. And mentally, maybe.
And mentally, because we're made to move. Yesterday I did a lecture, and it was okay, and I felt all right. Today I got to sweat. I did a demo, and I felt like, we were meant to move.
Yeah.
If you're a young person out there and you're thinking you don't want to be a farrier because it's too hard on your body, then you might want to change your mind, because you're going to be old someday. You're going to be sore someday, and it doesn't matter if you sit behind a desk or if you're shoeing horses, you're going to be sore.
Yeah.
So I think you should do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, they definitely didn't want to be a farrier, so they came out to work with me. Both have done the odd day with me, but no, not interested at all.
And what is Max going to do?
So Max is he's got his A-levels in next summer.
Tell us what A-levels are.
In our system, I don't know what you call it in your, so up to, I think it's the age of 16, they do GCSEs.
Which is like high school.
That's high school. Now in this country, they have to do 2 years of education after that. So it could be college-based or A-levels, which is a higher exam.
Is it geared towards something? Like after 16, can you start working on economics or farrier?
Yeah. So the school-wise, so Max, for instance, is doing, you do 3 A-levels. I think you can do 4, but he's doing 3. He's doing history, psychology, and business.
Okay.
So you just pick the subjects that you're good at, and then those grades, once you've hopefully got good grades for your A-levels, if you want to go to university and do a degree, then your grades from your A-levels determine which university you get. So you've got to have 3 A stars, for instance, if you want to go to Oxford or Cambridge.
Okay.
But equally, if you got lesser grades, you could go to a lesser university.
All right. So is he going to go to college then?
Well, we'll touch wood. He's going to get some good grades, and we're presently looking around different universities. We went to Cardiff last week. We've got Manchester to look at and Sheffield.
Now, does that cost you a lot of money for him to go to one of those?
Does depend. They get student loans. The government pay for their.
So when you say student loans, you got to pay it back?
Yeah, you do pay it back. So once you've graduated and you get a job where you're earning more than, I don't know what the threshold is, say £30,000 a year, you pay back your student loan. But we have to find the costs for accommodation and things like that.
I see. Well, in the U.S., they had a deal where they're going to pay back everybody's student loans. Oh, what a nightmare that was. And then they decided they couldn't do it. Thank God. I saw a person post on Facebook, if your college education doesn't earn you enough money to pay it back, then my job shouldn't have to pay it back for you. And I agree with that. So you guys probably know how I align politically. And if you're listening to this, you probably knew anyway.
Yeah.
Tell us about your practice. Do you guys shoe 10 horses every day, or what's your goal?
We've got 2 vans that are generally out every day. One of them obviously has an apprentice in, and then I normally have an apprentice with me. So we meet up for the big yards.
So you have an apprentice by himself in one van?
Yeah. Obviously, as you know, the apprenticeship's just short of 4 years.
Right.
They normally start going out on their own for me when they're in the 3rd year. Obviously, it depends on how capable they are, but certainly putting shoes on, a lot of the time taken is going around doing those odd little jobs that provide a good service, but it needs to be, you need to have someone to do it. You can spend an hour going to put a shoe on somewhere, which
right
for me, I can shoe a couple of horses if there's 2 of us, or certainly one.
Right. So it's very nice to have somebody doing that all the time.
Yeah. So that really helps. And also it can be quite unpopular as a training farrier. I'm the only one really, apart from sort of Ben's probably closest to me, that have apprentices. So most of the farriers around my area are all one-man bands. So the customers they see Joe Bloggs every day or every shoeing appointment. Whereas me, it can be me or it can be the apprentice. So customers can be a bit funny about that, but then I need to sort of reiterate that, can Joe Bloggs get that shoe on for them the next day or the same day?
Right. You can provide more service because you have more resources.
Yeah. And when they go on holiday for 2 weeks, who's going to put your shoes on for you then, or shoe your horses? We can just keep things going while I'm away.
And so do you plan to continue with that forevermore, to have apprentices?
Yeah. I mean, I have good days and bad days. Yeah. It's really difficult. I don't know if Ben touched on this, to find apprentices at the moment.
There's a bunch of people wanting to be apprentices, right?
Yeah. Well, apparently, but I mean, I used to get letters all the time from people wanting an apprenticeship. And now it really irritates me. I get the odd Facebook message where they'll message me and say, "Hey, have you got an apprenticeship?" It's like, come on,
So they're not putting much effort into it.
Not putting much effort in. Basically, I'm waiting if I can get somebody that's good, I'll carry on, and take them on. I don't want to start to get desperate and take someone that's not going to be suitable for me.
So you'd rather cut a little work then?
Yeah.
And so the van with you in it, how many horses do you do a day?
Yeah, so we'd normally do probably 10, I suppose.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's probably 10 with 2 of us, and then the other van will do 4 or 5.
So you're stuck in pretty good every day, huh?
Yeah. We work for, I don't know if they still are, but one of the biggest vet practices in the southeast. So I do their remedial work. They've got their own MRI scanner. So generally I get the call when.
Is it a standing MRI?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when the horses go in there, obviously have to have their shoes taken off and then obviously get diagnosed. I go in and sort those out. So that it's not work that's sort of regular, but it's that work that, right, we need some shoes back on.
Well, it's also fun. I always loved the remedial side of my business because it kept me stimulated.
Yeah.
Where just shoeing, if you're a new shoer, you can never imagine the day where shoeing will be monotonous.
No.
But once you've been shoeing for a few years, you realize that it can become monotonous if you don't challenge yourself. And sometimes the remedial work really did that for me.
Yeah, definitely. And we're lucky with the horse trust as well. They have a full-time vet that they employ there. You know, horses being looked at within an inch of their lives.
So these things are really taken care of well there, huh?
Oh yeah, they have a lovely time. You know, and anything they need, shoeing wise, I say, I think this needs an X-ray. Bang, the X-ray's done, and it's good. And like you say, it just keeps your brain working and gets you thinking stuff.
All right. So did you want to touch on anything that's happening with the Worshipful Company and the Farrier Registration Council? Do you have a thought on that?
I sit on the Farriers Registration Council. I'm the appointee for the BFBA. There's 2 appointees that BFBA put on there. It's very raw at the moment, and it's really disappointing for the guys that are due to take their endpoint assessment, you know, in 10 days' time or whenever it is.
Is it that soon?
I think it's the 16th of November.
Oh, wow. I thought it was spring, but it's coming up.
No, it's coming up. So there'll be another one in spring. I think the next one's in May. It's just a terrible situation. Were you on the open forum?
I was on the open forum. I didn't get a lot out of it because so what's happened in the United States is we had a bunch of people going to sit in high-level exams. And just before they went, they got a statement saying the Farrier Registration Council no longer recognizes the Worshipful Company exams, and with really not a lot of information.
Yeah.
And then there was stuff on Facebook, which was maybe some of it misleading or some of it only telling part of the story.
Yeah.
It's really created a little bit of insecurity among people in the U.S. that were wanting to take higher level exams to have the recognition of the Worshipful Company behind their name.
Yeah. I think the trouble is not a lot's being said about it because not a lot of people know what's happening. There's so many cogs involved in this. And I think people are a bit worried about putting statements out if there's nothing really to say or it might not even happen. So regarding the American side of it, so the diploma in this country is a route to registration.
Right. And it's the minimum standard to shoe on your own.
Yeah. So if you haven't got a diploma, you can't get on the register. You can't shoe horses in the UK. With the higher exams, they're not a route to registration. The only thing that the associate will give you or potentially give you is you can become a training farrier.
Which, if you're in the United States, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but it could matter. So if you're an American farrier that wanted to take their associate and then they wanted to come to the UK to train, I mean, it's highly unlikely.
But possible.
So that's what the statement was all about regarding that it's the associate exam, well, obviously did go ahead in the States last week.
Yes.
And I think it will continue to happen because it's not a route to registration.
Right. And really, I don't know of any examples of a foreigner taking the exams in order to move here and shoe and train. Do you know of one?
No.
I don't either.
I don't know why a foreigner would want to come to the UK to shoe horses because you can make more money in different countries than you can here.
South Africa, you have to shoe one horse to buy one rasp.
Yeah.
So those boys have got to turn out numbers. It's like 30 horses a day or you don't earn a living.
Yeah.
So I could see someone in one of those countries doing it. But if you're an American farrier, even if you don't have any letters behind your name, you can do very, very well in the U.S.
I mean, there are a lot of great farriers, aren't there, in the States?
There are, but there's a load of farriers in the U.S.
Yeah.
So we have so many people, so many horses, so many disciplines, and then we have so many levels of guys.
Yeah.
Like you got these top guys that are just, you watch them forge and shoe, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. But then you have this massive middle, like 80% of them, that are still shoeing at a very decent level, making a very decent living, and providing great service. So,
yeah.
Do you think this is all going to blow over? You think a year from now it'll just be a memory?
I hope so. I really hope so. It'd be a real shame if people look up to these qualifications, all over the world. They're the best, and they need to be the best. And in my mind, that's probably why what's happened has happened, is because if it's not fit for purpose, then it's not credible anymore. So hopefully it will blow over, and the powers that be will work hard to get it back on track.
It seems like everybody's shaking hands and trying to be civil, huh?
Yeah. I think last night's open forum really, people got some stuff off their chest, and the different bodies all walked out talking to each other. So that can only be a good thing.
Yeah. Well, are you chasing your fellowship? You guys didn't get to see the look, but he gave me a big breath and he looked away.
Yes is probably the answer to that. I attempted my fellowship.
Oh, okay.
2 years ago, I think. In 2021, I did. Do you know about the graduate diploma at the Royal Veterinary College?
I guess not. No.
No. So it's a degree level qualification.
Would it be a doctorate degree?
Level 6, I think.
I guess I don't know what that is. All right.
So that was a 2-year course at the Royal Veterinary College, and it was where you learnt to write a scientific paper. And the idea behind that was that I could then use that scientific paper for my fellowship.
All right.
I said to myself at the time, I'm only going to attempt it once, and if it doesn't work, I've done it. And I did it, and it was a great learning experience. It was brutal.
Did they take your paper?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can you tell us your topic?
It was the effects that a caudal support shoe has on the plantar angle of the distal phalanx and symmetry.
So negative plantar angle and the effects of shoeing on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my idea, shoeing a lot of dressage horses, it's the fad. It's the owners and the vets want you to shoe them longer behind.
Right.
Yeah, because apparently they go better. I sort of thought, and also there's lots of, it's a big topic, negative plantar angle at the moment. I don't know if it's the same in the States.
It's been a big topic for a decade.
Yeah. So I just thought, as I'll be shoeing these horses longer. If they're going better, what effects does that have on the plantar angle? So I used the horses at the Horse Trust. We used 12 horses. We used the gait analysis system from the Royal Veterinary College. So it's all done under the Royal Veterinary College. So we had our supervisors, Thilo Powell. Do you know Thilo and Renata?
I know Renata.
So Thilo, Renata's husband, he was my supervisor. So studied 12 horses. We put Thilo's gait analysis system on them, trotted them up after the trim, x-rayed them after the trim, and then repeated it again and x-rayed them with a standard shoe on, like to the heel, hunter style, I suppose, on a hind.
Uh-huh.
And then we shod them in relation to O'Grady's 50-50 in front and behind the center rotation using foot mapping.
Okay.
So basically most horses had probably a shoe 2 sizes bigger than the previous one as a rule.
I don't agree with that, but anyway.
And I found, obviously it's a small number of horses, and I found that I think it did change overall the distal phalanx angle by, I think it was like 0.8 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Didn't change any symmetry. We couldn't find any difference in the symmetry. So, horses didn't move any better or worse before or after the different shoes. So, yeah, that was my study.
You did get some information basically that you could shoe them short and get away with it, and shoeing them long didn't make it any better, really.
No, not in terms of symmetry, but it did change the distal phalanx angle.
But 0.8 degrees, was that enough to matter?
Probably not, but over 12 horses, if my study was bigger, it might have had a different result. And then, of course, it's like everyone says, once you do a scientific paper, you challenge yourself and look into it more, and then you say, well, why has that changed that angle? Has it changed the posture? Has the limb moved back? Yeah, probably. Is that why it's then changed it?
How long after putting the first shoe on, and did you take it off right away and then put the long shoe on and do it right away?
Yeah.
Wow. So you did a lot of work.
Oh, it was painful. Everyone says, doing research is just monotonous and time consuming. I'm thinking, that's all right. You're just taking a shoe off, putting a new one on. But of course, then radiographs on hind limbs, is a different kettle of fish.
And 12 horses. We're talking 24. And the number of images you must have had to deal with.
Yeah. I think I did about 1 or 2 over a summer. So it took probably 6 months to get my data.
Yeah.
Graduated from the Royal Veterinary College with my graduate diploma. I think it's 2021.
That is what your thesis did, was got you your graduate diploma. But you could use that same thesis for your fellowship.
Yeah. So the idea behind the graduate diploma was that it fitted into the worship company of Farrier's thesis box.
Okay.
So it had the same amount of words and the same
all the requirements.
Format. And yeah.
So did you get your fellowship?
No. So I went for my fellowship. Wasn't successful in that. So you have to, if I remember rightly, you have to send your thesis in and it gets
approved.
So you can go further. So luckily mine was approved and went for it. And I just, various things, didn't defend it well enough, didn't answer my questions in the oral. Was it the same format when you did yours? I don't know.
Yeah, I had to submit my thesis 90 days. I think maybe it's 6 months prior. Whenever I took the actual exam, they made you do a lecture.
Yeah.
They give you a topic and you have an hour to prepare a 30-minute lecture.
Yep.
And you sit through an oral exam. You have a shoe display. And then you also had to The practical side of it was the patent bar, but it was different for everybody. But mine was a patent bar.
Yeah.
Was that whenever you took it?
No. So it's split now into the two, probably the same, the two sides, the communication side. So the same, you present your thesis lecture. I think it's 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I just defended my thesis during the orals.
During the oral. Okay. So you do a presentation on that, and then they question you on your subject, which is obviously fine because you know it inside out, or you should know it inside out. Then you get sent away, like you say, for an hour to prepare a surprise lecture, and then you do a 20-minute lecture on that, and then answer questions on that, and then you sit and have all the examiners in front of you on the table, and they just bombard you with questions.
What was your lecture topic?
It was barefoot versus shod, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mine was shoeing the sound laminitic horse.
Oh, okay.
It was right up my alley. I do that every day.
Yeah. I mean, this is why I wouldn't go for it again. I'm now thinking I might do, because the preparation you have to do for that exam. I've got PowerPoint after PowerPoint on my computer, and
so when I took it, I got my fellowship in '98.
Yeah,
and it was overhead projected with that piece of plastic and a marker, and so I didn't have to. PowerPoint wasn't even a thing yet. And my thesis, unfortunately, it was about shoeing rodeo horses on the advice of my mentors. One of them's dead, one of them's still living, so I won't mention who they were, but they said, write about rodeo horses because they won't be able to ask you any questions because they won't know nothing about rodeo.
Yeah.
And they accepted my thesis. Then one of the examiners said, well, I'm very disappointed you didn't talk about sliding plates on these reiners. I said, well, reining is not rodeo. Rodeo, reining is its own thing. And so they knew so little about what I was writing about that it was actually a detriment. And it was just my idea of shoeing rodeo horses. It wasn't like a scientific paper should have been,
Yeah, that's how it's changed.
It's changed, yes.
They're a lot more scientific now.
And you need to be able to do PowerPoint. Like your lecture has got to be like the lecture I did yesterday.
Yeah. But I mean, these days, my kids help me on my PowerPoint, teach me how to do it. They know this stuff.
Yeah.
It's ingrained now, isn't it? But
well, that's kind of cool. And so you think you might do it again, huh?
I think, I don't know.
You're going to hear it right here, folks. What's going to be? Yeah. If you're a British farrier, you can hold Dan's feet to the fire now.
Exactly. Part of me goes, I've got all the stuff there. I've done not the hard work, so I've got to get through the exam. The practical, I think you asked earlier, that's changed as well. So it's more like the associate practical.
So you do actually shoe horses, right?
2 feet. Yeah. I think the difference is with the associate, you're told what shoes to put on, 2 bar shoes with toe variants or lateral extensions or whatever. In the fellowship, you have to assess the horse. I think it's generally got something wrong with it, or they tell you it's got something wrong with it. And then you've got to make your own shoes idea of shoe and plan of what you're going to do. Yeah,
that's brilliant for the fellowship level.
Yeah.
The associate, when I took it, had so many shoes that they might call you on.
Yeah, it's a big list.
Yeah, so now it's not. I think it's a much smaller list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is your wife a horsewoman?
No.
Does she like horses?
She likes horses. She used to ride my horses when we were at school together.
So you guys know each other since childhood?
We've known each other from sort of 12, 13.
And how old were you when you got married?
You're trying to catch me out here. I was 25.
So that's pretty young for an Englishman, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
So Kelly and I got married at 19.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my parents and my wife's parents, I think they were married when they were 19 or 18 or something, so.
I meet a lot of English guys that are 30 years old and they're still single, But.
Yeah, no, I think it's, well, maybe I'm not as young as I think I have.
So what does your wife do?
She does my accounts now, or not accounts, she does my bookwork. So all the paperwork, we basically write down the jobs we've done, hand it into her. She does all the invoicing. She does that and the debt collecting and all the horrible stuff that we don't like doing.
Does she go around with a big flashlight to break kneecaps?
Yeah, I wish she would on some of them. But no, she does that. She gave up work when we had Lloyd, my eldest. She used to fly for the airlines, so she used to fly for Japan Airlines. She's a stewardess.
A flight goddess.
Yeah. So she used to do that for Japan Airlines.
Is she Japanese?
British Airways. No. She speaks Japanese.
No kidding.
Yeah, because when she worked for JAL, I think she spent 6 months over there and they taught her Japanese. And
does she ever cuss at you in Japanese or get mad at you in Japanese?
No, I don't think so. There's the odd time she'll blurt some stuff out.
Do you speak another language?
No. I wish I did. I can get by when I'm on holiday asking for a couple of beers and the bill.
In Japanese?
I think I used to be able to. I don't know if I could now. But
have you been to Japan?
On our honeymoon, we flew back through Japan. We had a few nights. in Tokyo. And then when she worked for them, I flew out there for a weekend while she was working. So I went to Osaka.
Cool.
So yeah, only a couple of, probably 4 or 5 nights total, but we plan on going back actually in the next couple of years. So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Oh yeah. I did a clinic there, and what an amazing place.
Yeah.
Man, it's interesting food, beautiful people. They were so nice to us.
Yeah, lovely.
The mattresses was as hard as this table we were sitting around. We'd take the comforter off the twin bed and put it on, so it's
yeah.
I must need a much softer bed being an American than a Japanese guy does.
Yeah. I remember when we checked into our hotel and they brought our bags up. There's a knock on the door, and this little Japanese lady is with this bag trolley with suitcases, like 3 or 4 times higher than her. And I go to help her, and my wife's like, no, you can't. She doesn't want to. She won't let you help. And there's this little lady trying to get our bags off of this trolley, but they work differently to us.
The culture is so different, and their contest is set up where no one will ever take it away from them. So I judge their national competition. Their part of it is the shoeing and the foraging, but they have the horse assessment, and they have a pit that the guys stand in, and they move the horse away and back and forth, and they have to do an assessment of how the horse moves, and they have to answer all these questions in Japanese.
Yeah.
So the only way a competitor, like let's say Grant Moon, would win the national Japanese championship, he'd have to first learn how to read and write Japanese.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Easier said than done, I think.
Yeah, very clever of them. It was pretty cool to watch. Pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah.
What are your plans moving forward? Are you going to shoe until you're 85 or?
I can't imagine stopping shoeing.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else. So I think the rockstar days are well and truly over. So I think I'm going to have to. I've still got a mortgage. We've got a little holiday house that we rent out down in Dorset, down by the coast.
So you own it and rent it out, or you rent it when you go down there?
We own it and rent it out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that's what Lindsay, my wife, does as well. She does all the changeovers of the holiday home.
So is it like an Airbnb where they rent online?
Similar. It's for an agent, but it's similar. So,
and you have somebody that is down there that mows the yard and changes the.
No, that's what Lindsay does. That's what my wife does.
So she has to go down there.
She goes down. It's 2 hours door to door. So she goes once a week. And she says it's just like a hard day's work. She's got 4 hours driving, and then she has to clean and do but she's a control freak. So the guests get a homemade cake and cookies, and
nice.
So she likes to do that.
So what's that cost to rent that?
I think in the peak in the summer it'd be I think it's about £1,500 a week.
Okay,
something like that. So
do you stay booked up?
Yeah, I mean this is our first full year we've just had, and we were booked up from April through to. We've just had our last booking just gone last weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really successful. Yeah, and it's right on the beach. It's a 5-minute walk to the beach. You're a 10-minute drive from the New Forest, and I'm getting a plug in here, aren't I?
It's awesome.
You've been plugging your book, and I'm going to plug my.
Yeah. So what is it? How do you find this cottage?
So it's Lavender Cottage
Highcliffe.com or
.co.uk or .com. It's the same. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not through Airbnb or nothing. It
will take you through an agent. So there's an agent called New Forest Cottages.
Cool.
Because we're right on the New. Have you been to New Forest?
I have not.
Stunning. Yeah,
oh yeah,
lovely. Yeah, horses roaming around the roads, and cows and pigs, and yeah.
Well, very cool.
Cool place.
So we turn our bunkhouse at the horseshoeing school into Airbnb in the off season.
Oh, do you?
Yes, and so our daughter does it, and when she first wanted to do it, I was like, yeah, babe, whatever, just whatever. She has done so well with that. I was just astounded that the bunkhouse in Lamar, Missouri would be booked up, but she's booked up.
And you've had some good clients? No one trashed it, or?
So there's 27 beds and it's huge kitchen, so the people will get it for family reunions, and they'll get it for their Christmas dinners and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, beautiful people that do a nice job. It's how about you guys? Have you had some people?
Touch wood, we've been very lucky. Yeah, everyone's been really good. I think because it's brand new. We kitted it out brand new with new sofas and everything. I think if something's really nice, people generally try and look after it a bit more.
And do you guys get to use it or not?
Well, Lindsay's down there now as we speak. She's down there this weekend with some girlfriends. Then my son Lloyd, he's going down next week for a week, and then I think I'm back in it. Lindsay and I are going down the week after that. So.
Okay, so you get to use it yourself.
Yeah. The trouble is, when you have time off, you generally want to go down there, and sometimes you've got to go. Actually, there are other places to visit, but it's, at the moment it's fresh and it's good, and relaxing down there. So it's great.
So do you have a dad joke for me?
Oh, I'm rubbish at telling jokes.
Are you?
My wife asked me to pass her chapstick to her the other day. I accidentally passed her a glue stick instead. She hasn't spoken to me since. There you go.
There you
That's
go.
the best I could do.
That's not bad. That's not bad. What about teaching me something that's unhorseshoe related?
Well, you've thrown me a little bit there, because I was going to say I could teach you to play, thinking of a Eagles song on guitar, but you know how to do that.
Go ahead. Let's.
But I can't. I haven't got a guitar. But I'll tell you what. Next time I see you, I'll teach you some. I'll practice my guitar and say, "Hey, I'm gonna teach you how to do this."
Yeah, you know what they say? God's favorite chord is Jesus.
Jeez, there's another one.
All right. Well, Dan, again, I can't thank you enough for making this trip such a wonderful thing for Kelly and I.
No, it's been a pleasure, and it's been fantastic having you.
Yeah. So, is there anything you'd like to talk about we haven't talked about?
Don't think so. I think all my skeletons are out, aren't they?
I guess so. Well, that one more joke then. You know what you call a blonde skeleton in the closet?
Go on.
1984 hide and go seek champion. All right, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
My daughter Jacqueline married Cameron, a cowboy's cowboy and a farrier from a big ranch in Mexico. They grew their dream in Missouri as they grew their family, but Jacqueline wanted to feed her family the best, and the difficulty of doing this when it came to great meat led to the start of CJW Pinot Ranch. Their animals were respectfully raised, antibiotic and hormone-free, and taste like the meat used to taste when I was a kid. You won't find better pork chops than one that came from a pig raised in the timber under God's sunlight, or tastier chicken that got to move to fresh grass in the pasture every day, or a ribeye that came from a steer that roamed around 500 acres of Missouri hills and got finished on non-GMO grain. If you care about what you and your family eat, check out cjwpinotranch.net. They ship every week. You can pick it up from their farm or catch them at one of the farmers markets they go to. Wholes and halves are available as well. Folks, you're going to really like this meat.